everybody. Okay. You know how there's a saying that says there are two things that you never discuss, and that's religion and politics. However, on YouTube, people love to discuss those things for some reason. We have a lot of argumentative people, I believe. But I believe there's something else that's even more of a hot button for people than even religion or politics. And I myself am one of the people who feels very strongly about this. And I am about to open up a can of worms. As soon as I get my earpiece out of my ear, because it's bugging me. Okay, Bluetooth out. Okay. In America, more and more so over the years, every time you make a phone call and you get customer service, or you go to the ATM at the bank, or call and get put on hold or whatever. And it was not like this 10 years ago. But lately, we have to push if you want English or Spanish. Okay, you guys, that ticks me off. I am not joking. I am dead serious. I have no words. I will not repeat words that run through my head when I have to do that. It makes me so flippin' angry. This country was built on all different nations coming here. And they come here because they want freedom. And all of the nations that came here had to learn English. And yet, in the last probably 10 years, it might be 20 years, because I seem to recall little pockets of it right about the time I graduated high school, which was actually 22 years ago. God. Anyway, at that time, unheard of. Never happened. Everyone spoke English. You had to learn English. And they kind of suggested that you learn another language, and we got to choose which other language we would learn. And it was usually French, actually, because we have a lot of Canadians that come. I'm in Florida. A lot of Canadians have vacation homes here. So French was more prominent than Spanish. Now, if you go down to South Florida, it's a different story. I've been to South Florida, and there was a mall down there that I was shopping in a store one time, and this was about 12 years ago. And I had an armful of clothes that I had tried on and I was planning to buy, but I had a question or something, and I asked the cashier the question, and she didn't even speak English at all. And, okay, I knew that there are people who spoke Spanish down there. I don't have a problem with you speaking Spanish, as long as you speak English too, because the language is English here. It is America. The girl didn't speak English at all. She could not answer my question. So she called someone in from the back room. This guy comes out. He doesn't speak English either. So I took the armload of clothes. I dropped it on the counter in a very obvious way to let them know that I was angry, and I walked out of the store. That store did not get my money, and they are not going to, because no one could communicate with me. And I've been on the flip side of it too, when I was the one in sales, and someone called my office and couldn't speak English, and this was in DeLand. It doesn't happen much in Daytona, I will tell you that. It doesn't happen much at all. Where I am, it just doesn't happen. So I'm living in an area that thinks the same way I do. So, you know, everywhere where you live, you're going to be influenced by it. I had someone call my office. Again, this was probably about the same time, about 12 years ago. Asked if anyone spoke Spanish. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell exactly. You know, I don't know exactly what she said, but she was asking if anyone spoke Spanish, and I said no. And she asked it again, and I said no. And she asked it a third time, and I said no. I was serious. I was angry by then. That I was like, get it through your head. No, I don't know any other word to tell you because I don't speak Spanish. I'm American. I'm born and raised here. I'm third generation in Florida. If I did learn another language, it would probably be German, because that's where my grandparents are from. They're from Germany. They learned English when they moved here. So, anyway, yes, I'm opening up a can of worms. I am sure I'm going to get some ticked off comments on here. If you get nasty, I will block and delete you, but you can communicate on it. I do want to know what the general consensus is, because I do believe that the huge majority of this country feels the same way I do. Maybe not as strongly, but hey, move to Florida or go down to South Florida for a while, and I guarantee you'll adopt the same attitude as I have. I resent having to press 1 or 2 to choose a language when I make a phone call. I resent it. It's not right. And now, okay, here, get this. I'm in real estate. All the documentation is in English. So, if you speak Spanish and you don't speak English, we've run into this huge problem here, because the Spanish-speaking people can be taken advantage of because they don't know what they're signing. So they were debating whether or not to put some contracts in Spanish. Well, here's the problem. If everything is in Spanish, that means that person can only buy a house from a seller that also speaks Spanish. Because if the contract's in Spanish, then the person who only speaks English won't understand it. Well, you can't only buy a house from someone who speaks Spanish, because then you're breaking the law, because we are not allowed to steer people into certain homes or neighborhoods. It is called steering, and it's against the law. So this is really becoming an issue, primarily in South Florida. I'm reading the Realtor magazine that's for the state that's letting us know about this. Anyway, I do want to know your thoughts. And yeah, I know I'm opening a can of worms. But I want to know what the majority believes, how you think. And bear in mind, I said I don't have a problem with people speaking other languages. But if I were to move to another country, I would assume I would have to learn the language of that country. And the language of this country is English. It always has been. But you get so many of Spanish-speaking people in an area, and they like took over in certain parts of Miami and South Florida, and now you can't make them change, and they're pushing us to change. Why should I have to change? I was born here. Okay, I'm beyond ranting on this. I shouldn't have done this. Okay, bye guys.